Hello. Welcome to our Voices of Carmen vocal recording and voiceover workshop. What? We're so happy that you're joining us, whether you're in Zoom with us or if you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope that you leave today with so many tools in your toolkit as you go on and record albums or songs or tracks, or even develop characters that you could use in voiceover work. We're going to start today with Winston Phillip of FreeStyle Media today. I'm going to read a little bit about Winston to get to know him a little bit better. Winston began playing piano and organ for the church his family attended at age 7. His professional career started in the 1980s, working as a freelance musician, recording engineer, and music producer. Winston spent over a decade working in television and film, producing music for TV commercials, shows, and film trailers. A brief snapshot of clients include Wu-Tang, Arrested Development, El DeBarge, David Bowie, Verizon, Anheuser-Busch, and Maybelline. The New York native, by way of Trinidad, transplanted to Baltimore in 2009 with wife CJ and dreamed of doing something more significant than he had already done in his successful career. Investing in his creativity in the community, Winston brings high-quality design and creative direction to the nonprofit sector. In 2017, Winston co-founded FreeStyle Media, a media production company with the mission of supporting and advancing the potential of Baltimore's growing music and new media community. That same year, Winston was recruited as the keyboardist for Soul, the Stax musical at Baltimore Center Stage. Getting to play the music of the legendary Booker T. Jones was the dream of a lifetime. So without further ado, Winston Phillip.
I'll actually come down there.
Okay.
Hello, friends. This is CJ Phillip, the writer, director, and choreographer for Voices of Carmen. I'm super excited to introduce you to Winston Phillip, who you just heard all about. And behind Winston, shadowy Winston, like literally, he looks like a little shadow.
Behind the
is Malachi Adams, who's also a musician and engineer. And we're going to start out with some questions between Malachi and Winston. And then we'll actually go into a real recording session with Hassan, who's playing Escamillo. So enjoy this little Q&A before we jump right into the studio session.
So my first question is, like, when you were around my age, like 14 to 21 range, what were you up to? Like, what were you doing?
I cannot answer that question under the grounds that it might incriminate me. But in a non-incriminatory response, 14, I was just playing piano. I hated playing the piano. I didn't hate playing the piano. I hated taking piano lessons. I hated taking piano lessons more than I hated being punished for taking piano lessons. So that was a trade-off. I really hated it. Like, you can't understand how someone would trade punishment for taking piano lessons, but that was me. Up until quite some time, not too long ago. But I just, so I was just kind of wandering around, and musically, actually in high school, I discovered musical theater, believe it or not, and it was something to do, and instead of going to the other classes that I was supposed to go to, I always hung out in the music department, in the band room, and worked with those folks. And I was actually the music director for the shows at school in 10th, 11th, and 12th grade.
Going off of that, how did I know they mentioned you started doing TV commercials and stuff like that, but how did your career as an engineer begin?
So when I left college, my work was kind of in the computer industry. And this was a long time ago. So none of you know what I'm talking about. Like computers with tapes and cards and things like that. And I was also introduced to a gentleman that was producing records at the time, but in the 80s, late 80s, 90s, computer technology was finding its way into the recording studio, and I just so happened to be not afraid of computers. So all the producers were like, hey, this guy over here, he's not afraid of the computer. The old engineer that's sitting like not ready to press the button. I'm like, just press the button. It's like a break. Just press it. Like, I'm not pressing nothing. So then I became the dude because I wasn't afraid of buttons.
So, see, I don't know when like computers came out.
Yeah.
But, so like at the dawn of
yes, the dawn.
So like
I'm old, people.
That's crazy. So you were like one of the first people to them that started with the electronic stuff.
Well, the computer technology was used to help automate the recording process. So all the fader moves and running the synchronizing the tape machine with the fader moves was all run by very old computers with floppy drives that were 6-inch square floppy disks. If you can imagine what that looks like. So yeah, huge floppy disks. And so you would put them in, load your song, and then it would add all the automation, the fader moves up and down and off and on, mute solo, and also run the synchronization for the tape machine so that everything was working when you said it was going to work.
Wow.
You asked.
Yeah, that's pretty much all I got. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Malachi. We are now going to get ready for our studio recording with Hassan, who plays Escamillo in our 2021 Voices of Carmen. So let's go ahead and take a look down here. And Winston's going to be the engineer in this space. So as we like to do, this is part recording session, part training of how to be and do in a recording session. All right. And so let's get that all set up and we'll go ahead.
CJ, can you unmute that camera, please?
All right, so I gotta get this to where it is. Take that spot as your vocals on.
Test 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect, thanks.
Awesome, thanks.
And then, feel free to sing this way. Okay. Sing out. Gotcha. You can sing straight ahead, but if sound doesn't drop, it goes up. So gotcha. You'll be okay. And then you'll be able to see who's the director. And then you need some headphones. It's kind of irrelevant which left is right unless you were playing the violin. And then right here is your headphone volume. So we're going to start with this down. And then if you need to turn it up a little bit, okay. You know the drill. Yeah. Got it.
All right. So Hassan, have you ever done in-studio vocal recording before?
So I've done it a couple times, meaning two. I did it for this Christmas album at the Kennedy Center. Right. So I mean, it wasn't exactly like this, but it was similar. So.
Okay, great. Have you warmed up?
Yeah, I warmed up.
Okay, great. So step 1, make sure that you come to your session fully warmed up and vocally ready to go. Step 2 is we're going to do a sound check when the engineer calls us to do a sound check. Now, when you do a sound check, you're just going to sing in the volume or in, sorry, fixing something here. You're going to sing or check 1, 2, test 1, 2 at a volume that's about where you're going to perform. And so once you start your sound check, do not stop your sound check until someone tells you to. Oftentimes when you're new to the studio, someone says, give me a sound check, and everybody's like, check 1, 2, 1, 2. And then they stop. The engineer's like, I just got my hands on the knob. Like, they're actually working and figuring some things out. So keep speaking, keep doing it until they tell you to stop. You ready for a sound check?
Yeah.
Awesome, let's do a sound check.
1 2 1 2 1 2 checking 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Good. Try
checking.
singing something now.
Okay.
Yeah, let's sing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. I'm gonna try the louder part of the song. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year.
Nice deep breaths before that again.
Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year.
Good. And
Escamillo,
Lauren, if you can spotlight what
I'm your
Winston's doing,
hero,
that'd be
the
great, as well
bullfighter
as
of the year.
us here.
Escamillo.
All right, the engineer says he's good. So that's the first thing. It seems like it's very repetitive, but he's actually doing some work there, and it takes a few moments. So just keep sound checking until we're ready. All right.
We'll see. I'm not bad. Yeah, I could be good, but definitely not bad. So, so what we're gonna do now is just sing along with the section. Do you want to start at the kind of like right before Escamillo's part?
Yes.
All right, and then tell me your name.
Hassan.
Hassan. Did you hear yourself singing?
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now we're gonna play this music, and then you can adjust your volume there to
Okay.
get the blend. If you need to hear yourself louder, just say, "Hey, can you?" I think there's a part where like I'll just say what's most commonly heard in the studio. The number one thing is, "Turn my mic up, son."
Okay.
I'm not kidding. It's literally the most used phrase in the studio. And the son is it's huge. And it doesn't make any sense if you don't say son.
Not just a man, I'm a legend of our time. Greeting the fans, cause I'm infinitely kind. Bulls, oh bulls, you best beware. Fight the king if you dare. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year.
All right. Give it up for Hassan. First time. Come on. Nicely done. So, talk to us about how you've been working on this piece.
So I haven't done a lot of like historical research,
Mhm.
but I've looked at some versions of the play, and Escamillo is definitely a big shot. But I wanted to sort of keep it with like the humble vibe, and I sort of sensed that with the R&B type singing. But I guess with the notes, I wanted to sound a little more like, I wanted to sound humble in a tone.
Okay.
But with like the riffs, I wanted to be like he's showing off a little bit.
Okay.
So I wanted to keep it like that.
All right. So thank you so much for giving me that backstory. A lot of times, especially in theater, you're going to be given a lot of direction, but I almost immediately want to know what choices have you made as an actor for who your Escamillo is, right? So we're definitely going to get more into sort of what is that balance of humility, but also showmanship, because you know what? I fight bulls for a living. You know what I mean?
Right.
So there's got to be a sense of confidence in someone who does that. So let's just start with that first part. Can you, the volume is nice where you are. I would love to see a little more breath here. So put your hands right here, and you're going to almost imagine that you're expanding a balloon as you inhale. And then you're going to do short S's going out. Again. S's. Just to sort of wake up that sort of lower belly. And now you want to do that. What do you got our other workshop about singing?
I know it's not.
Okay, so you want to put 3 fingers here in like your mouth, and then as your mouth is that wide, inhale, think of it as a deep belly, and see how much more air you're actually able to get down into the lower bowels of your diaphragm. Inhale. Good, open up as wide as the 3 fingers.
Gotcha.
So it's like you put them in your mouth.
Emulation of this.
And then exhale. And then one more time, inhale. And then exhale. What did you feel? Any difference?
It's a lot easier airflow.
Yeah. So getting the airflow in this is your body, this is your instrument to be able to take that breath and wield it, use it, and you have so many. You have great tone. You've got a pretty good ear. You've got a style and a way about you. If you have the breath as the support for all of those sort of innate gifts, then you'll really be able to drive the car exactly where you want to go, right? I've been in a place vocally where I feel like my voice is driving me, and I'm like, "Ah!" and I can't quite keep it where I want it to go. And so your breath is really going to be, your breath support is going to be able to help you with that. So let's just take that very front part, just to find the style and the character that boom, 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 boom.
Oh.
Not just a minute.
Okay. Not just a man, I'm a legend of our time. Greeting the fans, cause I'm infinitely kind.
Cool. What I want to give you is when you're doing, especially theater, every inhale is planned.
Okay.
And so after time, you've got to take that same 3-finger belly breath. Otherwise, we hear, not just a man, a legend at a time, greeting the fans. We hear the breath leaving, and that it's not as full as it was in that first half. So almost over-exaggerate your inhale to get through these 2 phrases. Not just an inhale, not just a man, I'm a legend of my time. Inhale, greeting the fans because I'm infinitely kind. To get through those 2, and then drop off of it. You don't have to hold notes as long in R&B. So that's the fun thing about this. You can just follow, not just man, I'm a legend of our time. Breath, greeting the fans. Like you can just fall off of some things a little bit more too.
Okay.
Let's try that.
Not just a man, I'm a legend of our time. Greeting the fans, cause I'm infinitely kind.
Yes! Did we hear that there was more support underneath that second? Now this bulls, just tap it. Bulls, hey. Oh,
Okay.
bulls, so it's a little more syncopated even though the music is going like this. You got backup dancers behind you like boom, boom. So they're doing syncopation against the groove. And so vocally you want to be like boom, tap it. Da, 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 da. Yeah.
Okay. Alright. Starting from the top.
From bulls.
Okay. Bulls.
Try again.
Bulls.
Yeah.
It feels awkward. It feels very awkward.
No worries. Now, because you're a wonderful actor, I want you to sort of get in the groove. And I always ask this question: who are you? Where are you? And when are you? This is your hometown. You are the hometown hero. You went out and made something of yourself when people didn't think you would. And now when you come in, there's literally screaming girls and people fainting because it's Escamillo entering the local pub. And so, yes, you're saying all these great things about yourself, but you're saying it in a humble way. I get it. Y'all like, not just a man, I'm a legend. I know. Right? And then that bulls is where your boys, and you were like, So find that spot first. Just get there. And And then when you're ready, be like, oh, because now you change it up. You're talking about yourself. Now you're talking about the bulls. Stop, bulls, what? Right? Yeah.
Bulls, oh bulls, you best beware. Fight the king if you dare.
Nice. Now, that was great. All of a sudden, I felt like he was talking to a bull. I'm like, what? Bulls.
Okay.
Right? There's a couple notes that we need to get at. Oh, can you help us with those?
I think let's run it with the music a little bit.
Okay.
You take
Cool.
that's good information, but then I just have to apply to the.
All right, let's try the music. Deep breaths.
Not just a man, I'm a legend of our time. Greeting the fans, cause I'm infinitely kind. Bulls, oh bulls, you best beware. Fight the king if you dare. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year.
Nice.
So there are two parts that repeat.
Beware, fight the king. Oh, bulls, you best beware.
Fight the king if you dare.
Okay.
Fight, bulls, you best beware. Fight the king if you dare.
Okay.
Mhm. Do that run 3 times in a row. Fight the king if you dare. Just get the muscle memory of it.
Fight the king if you dare.
Good. Again.
Fight the king if you dare.
One more time.
That's a little Bruno drug you got going on there, son.
One more.
Fight the king if you dare.
Good, good, good. Now let's get the bulls. What's that bulls note? Bulls.
Bulls, oh bulls, you best beware. Fight the king if you dare.
Nice. One more time, just to again create a muscle memory for those things that you are notes that you're having a tricky spot to. Step right up to them, go through them, maybe slow but repetitive to create a vocal muscle memory for that. Go ahead.
Bulls, oh bulls, you best beware. Fight the king if you dare.
All right, last time. Now I want you to bring back the character of bulls. What?
Okay. Bulls, oh bulls, you best beware. Fight the king if you dare.
Okay, what?
All right, Bruno. Bruno, you go.
All right, I think we're ready to take this. Let's do it.
All right. Not just a man, I'm a legend of our time. Greeting the fans, cause I'm infinitely kind. Bulls, oh bulls, you best beware. Fight the king if you dare. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year.
Okay, I said, all right.
All right. Yeah, solid. I really love some of the choices that you make. I want anything that you want from him more.
I'd like to take just get a nice full one of those again. I'll keep this, but just, go for your ego.
All right.
Yeah, and this one, like somebody said something to you, so you had to step in and let them know. Shoot, boom. So this has a little more, what's the word I'm looking for? Machismo. And again, you just came from the arena, so you're kind of feeling good
Okay.
and strong
Okay.
and bringing it a little.
And not just Escamilla's ego, your ego.
Right.
Kill it.
All right. Not just a man, I'm a legend of our time. Greeting the fans, cause I'm infinitely kind. Bulls, oh bulls, you best beware. Fight the king if you dare. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year.
Nice. I want to get the another take on because we're not quite on the note on bulls. He can always fix it, but I would love for you to get a solid on bulls. Oh, bulls, can you? Can you straighten the tone just so we have another version of it? We've got a couple versions of this really great run that you built.
Okay.
But on the second one, hero, just a nice long full to the back of the wall.
Okay.
On the hero, hero.
And the fight, I noticed I forgot all of that muscle memory. It's fight. Fight. Okay. Got you. Okay.
Cool. Do you want to take it from?
It's short.
Okay. I just want to make sure he gets that bulls. Could we start?
Well, I think I think that direction is good. I think it's a combination of, I'm still singing the word bulls,
Right.
but unless you completely step out of it and say bulls. So I think that maybe where he can kind of make both of those match.
Okay.
But it'd be interesting to hear bulls, like the actual,
No.
the belly note.
Yeah.
Bulls.
Yeah. Are you cool with us starting right on that bulls just to get?
Sure.
Okay, cool. So we want to start right on bulls. Let's do it twice before we do the recording, just to feel and get that right in our bodies and in our ear. 5, 6, 7.
Bulls. Oh, bulls, you best beware.
Hold. Do it again. Make sure you got a nice grip. And hit like there's a bullseye here, and you're trying to hit the breath into my hand and move it with your bulls.
Okay.
5, 6, ready, and
Bulls. Oh, bulls, you best beware.
good. One more time. 5, 6, ready, and
Bulls. Oh, bulls, you best beware.
okay. Here we go. That's it.
And we're taking it from bulls to the rest of the song.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll play from the beginning. I'll just punch in for bulls.
Yeah. And while he's going there, since I gave you a note that we haven't done, bulls, oh, bulls, we best beware, I use the time that he's walking there to go over what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
I gotta waste any second in the studio. Okay.
Not just a man, I'm a legend of our time. Breathing the fans, cause I'm infinitely kind. See, I completely spaced out.
That's alright.
Sheesh.
Alright, so this is called punching in. And so he's gonna start to sing. He's gonna play the song as is with the vocal in, and then the engineer is gonna open up the recording channel and he's gonna jump right into the next line.
Not just a man, I'm a legend of our time. Breathing the fans, cause I'm infinitely kind. Bulls, oh bulls, you best beware. Fight the king if you dare. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year. Escamillo, I'm your hero, the bullfighter of the year.
Good. Do we need anything more from Hassan? Are we good?
No, I think there's I'm going to go back to another take after. I'm going to comp the vocal.
Cool.
Meaning I'm going to use all the takes to come up with the part that I like.
Okay. Say that to the camera so they know what you're going to do.
I'm going to then I'm going to take all the takes and mash them up together and come up with the vocal I like. So back in the day, like Michael or any super R&B artist would use 2 rolls of tape, 24, 48 tracks of tape, just for one lead vocal, and then at the end of the song you get one thriller. So that's the deal. That's just how it works.
Awesome. So Hassan, you just want to thank your engineer.
Thank you so much for the help and the advice.
Awesome. It was great to have you. Can everybody give snaps to Hassan? Hassan, do you have any questions for Winston before you head out?
I guess, do you make like tracks, like of audio, or sorry, of
Like this one?
no.
Yes.
Like instrumentals, right?
Like this one?
Yeah, yeah. What's it like? I guess coming up with like all the stuff, like all the tracks, I guess.
So I'm an arranger.
Okay.
So somebody has to have a song that they
Right.
need an accompaniment for. I don't start from scratch for nothing. I don't. That's not
Okay.
my thing.
All right.
So with lists, like for example in Voices of Carmen, there are some very blackmailable vocals that CJ screamed into a telephone somewhere, and then it was mad because I didn't have a track. I'm like, I don't know what you're saying. So, all this stuff is magic. I just want to be clear. So there. Yeah, but no, for real, I'm not like. So he'll come up with, this is the kind of guy that'll sit there like, oh, I like how this feels, groove. But I don't do that. I don't even wait for somebody that has an idea. And they're like, oh, I should go like this, or I should go like that. But
Okay.
I have something.
Yes. So that's our creative process. I'm in my voice mode like, can you do something with this? And then he puts in a little bit of fairy dust and some magic, and out comes the track that you just heard.
Gotcha.
And then once we get a talented singer like yourself, it all comes together.
After we get together with a whole bunch of couples. Marc Thompson.
Hassan, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We're gonna go ahead and let you go into our waiting room area. I'm gonna come back over to this camera if you want to switch and say a few words. So next up is a video of a recording that we did last week with Willie, who plays Dominic in Voices of Carmen. So that is one of our main characters that primarily is a spoken word artist and a rapper. And so you're going to go ahead and take a look at what that recording session was like and see any thoughts or questions that you might have for Winston at the end of this as well. And he's going to reset the space for a second singer while we watch this video. Enjoy. So Willie coming on out to studio recording. How you feeling about today's recording?
I'm feeling alright, you know. I came here and practice and I'm ready to work, so I mean, it's my first time being in the studio, but you know, it's a really good experience. It's a very beautiful place, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just ready to work. I'm very excited.
Alright, so let's talk about who you are, where you are, and when you are. Those are always 3 questions that I ask, and the when you are is like, that ain't good English. But it's when in time, what decade am I in? A teen in the 60s and Hairspray is very different than a teen today, you know? So who are you in this moment?
What do you know so far? And this, I know there might not be a lot because you're just starting into this role. So I'm going to give you stuff, but I'm curious as to what you've made up on your own. All right, Willie, good to have you here. Let me get a little sound check on the mic. Anything?
All right. North, south, east, west. At the crossroads of life, there's sometimes a test. Knowledge that you draw on, they don't teach you in school. Don't let the road that you choose take you out like a fool.
Perfect. And see, the reason why we went over that little section a couple times, because you had pointed out that's a tricky section for you, right?
Yes.
So whenever I get to a tricky section, I actually like walk right up to it and be like, what's up? And then I say it 3 times in a row, at least, just to get the rhythm and the muscle memory of it. Then I go back to the top and see if I can get to it. If I can't, I'll do it 3 times again. Okay. But again, the same thing that you said earlier that was so powerful. If I put my all in it, if I just practice, I'm just going to get better and better. Yeah,
Definitely.
Another note for sound checks is that the person, the engineer and the audio, whether it's live sound checks or studio sound check, is working on it and continuing to work on it until they tell you they're good. So normally once I start a sound check, I don't stop until they say, okay. Because what happens is when you're new to the studio, they go sound check and you go, test 1, 2. And then you just sort of stand there and they're like, what am I supposed to do with that? I just got my hands on the knobs. Yeah. And so you just check 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, check. 1, 2, A, B, C. Happy birthday to me, like whatever you want to do until the sound engineer says stop.
Okay.
So that's a little trick for you to put in your toolbox.
Then one day she got the word, he was free as a bird. He said he meet her and he greet her on the
No worries, just take it in. No
so there's no the. Then one day she got word, he was free as a bird.
All right. That's not true.
Because I was going to cross it out because I was like, oh, it must be messing them up. But she came out of her blues.
She came out of her, okay, all right. Where he was free as a bird, he said he meet her and he greet her on the block when she heard. She came out of her blues with this sign of good news. But I wish I could go back and tell her which road to choose.
So, I'm going to play something else for you. That you're doing a great job. This is great. It's very exciting. But it goes like this. Right?
Yeah.
That's all this is. You gotta come like Snoop on this joint. Dark and laid back. Just Snoop all over the joint.
So it was like, stay back, like, lay back.
I'm gonna keep the front part of that.
Yep.
And I'm gonna punch you in. You rap along, I'll punch you in.
All right.
Okay. So, you know what that means?
She got word he was free as a bird. He said he meet her and he greet her on the block when she heard. She came out of her blues with the sign of good news. But I wish I could go back and tell her which road to choose.
That was a great punch in. Nice.
Okay.
Let's get those last, but I wish I could go back and tell her which road to choose. Look
Were
at
there 2? Like,
They're always the same. I mean,
yeah. Look for Winston's finger. He'll count you in just to
Okay.
be sure.
but I wish I could go back and tell her which road to choose.
yeah, sure.
So let's take a listen back.
Okay. Yes.
Just listen so you can hear anything that you want to touch on.
Yeah. Oh.
All right. So you just heard your recording of Dozen Rose. How you feeling?
That doesn't sound clean. I'm not even gonna lie. Hey, he did his thing on this right here.
Nice.
Hey, I actually feel really good about this. I feel confident. I feel like in this space, I feel confident. So what I put in goes out, and what I feel,
Right.
the vibe and energy. So
Right.
I feel like we got one.
You got that.
Yeah.
Nice.
You definitely got that.
Sweet. Yay.
Not like some Snoop Dogg inspiration.
Yeah.
No!
All right. So if you are just joining us, we are here at FreeStyle Media, and we are in the midst of recording artists who are part of the Voices of Carmen cast 2021. We just got finished recording our hero with Hassan, and now behind me we have Carmen number 4. It's Elle in the house, and we have her on the other side of the studio space, but set up to win. And so we are going to jump right into Elle's recording. I'm going to get her ready, but while I'm doing that, if you have any questions, or Malachi, if you have a question or two for Winston, maybe this is is a good time to throw that out to him.
I do have a question. So, my question is, how do you get work as an engineer? Like, I know it's based heavily on connections, but like, how do you go about pursuing work in this field?
That is like, it's business and marketing. It's kind of like how you get work as and Marc's going to speak to this too. There's a part of it where you're perfecting your craft, or at least getting as good with it as you can. And then there's the pursuit of the work. The pursuit part takes a lot of sacrifice up front to build up reputation. So reputation is your investment. And then once you're able to get to that place, then you can sell your reputation for X dollars an hour. But you have to have the reputation. And that's only possible in the intern sacrifice piece. There are definitely attempts at going the other way, but with most businesses, as a client, you only get what you pay for. So if you're buying something that, if you're buying a service that seems extremely inexpensive, it might just be inexpensive, and that's maybe not what you're looking for, especially when you're trying to find a way to express yourself as an artist. There's just a level of experience that's required to make you as the artist be the front of the game and not everything that's in the middle. So in our culture right now, there's a lot of focus on, beat makers and producers and with titles that people have created for themselves. But the work that I get, those titles have been assigned to me. I never called myself a producer. I'm like, hey, I need a producer. Call that guy Winston. I've heard what he's done with X, Y, and Z. And that's how I get work.
So it's like, they see what you've done in the past and are like, oh,
yeah,
that guy could,
yep. And then, sometimes you run into somebody like, hey, I like what you're doing. I wonder if we can work together. And then, that might be worth it, or it might lead to other work. You have to get really familiar with the psychology of people's purchasing habits.
Right. One other question. When you're working with an artist, what makes the process the easiest? Or the smoothest?
One of the things that I'm not really good at, so I got spoiled. So what happened to me was when I started in the TV industry, everybody that walked in, like a Marc Thompson, didn't need any help from me. I just needed to be ready to record when they showed up. The best musicians, the best voiceover talent, the best singers. So I got used to people showing up like, hey, I'm going to do this, and I need you to do that. And I'm like, boom, that's the deal. So I didn't really develop this whole skill set for coaching. Hence, why CJ does what she does, because she's developed a skill for coaching. So I'm at my best when you have a clear vision for what you want to do. Even if you're not great at it, I can fix that. But you need to have a plan. I'm not here for I'm not coming to the game with your plan. It's your plan, you're paying me, I'm working on it, and I can do magic if you have a plan.
So you work best with guiding the vision?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. I know how to get it out the speakers if you have something to say. Right. If you got nothing to say, we got no deal.
We have a question from April in the chat, which is to please define what an arranger, engineer, and producer each do, and I guess how those roles are different from each other.
Thank you, April. So an arrangement is a harmonic representation of a melody. So you've heard several songs like what's Etta James, At Last. You've heard many arrangements of that song. Those are the arrangements. A producer is someone who is the go-between between the product and the market of the product. So somebody's hired the producer to bring the artist's product to market. So my job as a producer is not to make up the song, it's to be under budget and on time. That's production. Everything else is arrangement. Was there a third piece to that? An engineer. An engineer is a scientist. We engineers know how to manipulate equipment and know best practices for how to transfer acoustic utterances from guitar, violin, drum, vocal to a medium that can store it. And there are a variety of ways of doing that, but the best way is unique to every instance. And once you get used to it, it seems like you're doing the same thing every time, but you're making millions of decisions in a second. So engineers, like an electrical engineer and an acoustical and a recording engineer have the same skill set, because all we're trying to do is get electricity to live on a machine.
Thank you.
All right, folks. We are back in the studio with Miss L as Carmen number 4. And we're going to do a quick sound check and then go right into Just a Girl, which is a nice short song, and I think y'all will enjoy it. So, L, can you give us a sound check for the engineer?
Sure. I'm just going to do a little happy birthday.
Why don't you do a little I'm Just a Girl?
Okay, I'll do that. I'm just a girl from around the way. Been here waiting for my man for so many days. And now he's coming home and my heart is filled with joy inside. Cause a girl like me who's free is getting heat from all these other guys. I'm just a girl from around the way. I know I'm fine, I speak mine each and every day. I'm just a girl from around the way. Just a girl, just a girl.
I should have been recorded. My bad.
All right. Can we give it up for Miss L? First time sound check on Just a Girl. You sound great, L.
Thank you.
So tell me how you approach this song, just for our viewers.
So I kind of listened to what like the original, like on the original album, and tried like copied it and then like tried to adapt it on how I sing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Okay. Awesome. How are you feeling in your body?
I'm a little nervous, but I'm good.
Okay, cool. Let's just ground ourselves. Get your feet underneath your shoulders. Take a nice deep breath. We're gonna lift up the hands a little bit on that and give a long ah. Let it roll down the hill. Good. Another deep breath. Give an E. E. Awesome. And just notice the different shape of your mouth when you go through the vowels. Inhale up. And give a ooh. Ooh. Good. Just sort of sway side to side. Open up the rib cage. And then give me the balloon in the front. Put the air down in it. Short S's. Good. Go ahead and wiggle the head a little bit. Roll out the shoulders. Make sure you get rid of all the tension. So you get that air coming down. Take nice deep breaths. And I'm going to try it with the track. We'll see how this first one goes. You did great on that first run. You go like bam, 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 bam. All right, we are ready for you, sir.
That's it.
I'm just a girl from around the way. And here waiting for my man for so many days.
Hold. So how many clicks were you expecting?
I was expecting 3.
Okay. Winston, how many clicks before we start? Because I know this may be a different track than what I
don't know which one this is. So this should be.
Just a
So you're gonna
girl
get 4.
from
Okay, 4.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, so timing wise, you're gonna count in and 4 clicks, and then we go.
You sure? Okay, let's try that.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not sure which version of the clicks this is either.
I'm just a girl from around the way.
So this is probably
So this
the
is
2
2
clicks.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a 2-click joint.
2 clicks and we're in.
Okay.
You got this.
A 1-2, a 1-2.
I'm just a girl from around the way. Been here waiting for my man for so many days. Now he's coming home and my heart is filled with joy inside. Cause a girl like me who's free is getting heat from all these other guys. I'm just a girl from around the way. I know I'm fine and I speak my mind each and every day. I'm just a girl from around the way. Just a girl, just a girl.
Nice. Winston, any comments, thoughts?
I just want to make sure I hit save.
That means he likes it. All right. So, let's talk about our breath.
Yeah.
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 So let's go through it real quick
Mhm.
because we're sort of wrapping up our time. You're doing a fantastic job. So we'll just probably just get another run of this.
Okay.
I want you to just sing through it lightly and lift your finger every time you are supposed to breathe.
Okay.
Just as a reminder to yourself when this breathing is supposed to be happening. Yeah.
Okay.
Sing this off a bit.
I'm just a girl from around the way. Been here waiting for my man for so many days. And now he's coming home and my heart is filled with joy inside. Cause a girl like me who's free is getting heat from all these other guys. I'm just a girl from around the way. I know I'm fine and I speak my mind each and every day. I'm just a girl from around the way. Just a girl, just a girl.
Good. Really nice control to the end. Yeah, all of those spots. And I love even where you picked a couple catch breaths to get you through.
Mhm.
So now it's just, while it's fresh,
Okay.
let's go through it and breathe exactly like that. Around the way, I know I'm fine and I speak my mind each and every day. What is the run that you're doing?
I know I'm fine and I speak my mind each and every
Love
day.
it, love it. What's the one? I'm just a girl from around the way.
I'm just a girl from around the way.
Round the way. Are those notes okay inside of what you have? Actually, there's nothing there.
I ain't got nothing to say to her. I'm doing something else.
Around the way. I just feel at the end, I'm like, either one note less or very definite on what that landing is. So can you do that 3 times in a row just to decide?
I'm just a girl from around the way.
One more time.
I'm just a girl from around the way.
Yes, that's in the center of it. Yeah,
Okay.
one more time.
I'm just a girl from around the way.
Oh yeah, now we're ready. Hey, 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 hey. Let's do it. One last run. Woo! Yay, Al. 2 clicks.
I'm just a girl from around the way. Been here waiting for my man for so many days. And now he's coming home and my heart is filled with joy inside. Cause a girl like me who's free is getting heat from all these other guys. I'm just a girl from around the way. I know I'm fine and I speak my mind each and every day. I'm just a girl from around the way. Just a girl, just a girl.
Nice. So I saw you make a face. I don't know if that face actually coincides with what I heard, because what I heard was solid. Let's listen back. And I think, yeah, if we don't need to punch anything in, we might be good.
I'm just a girl from around the way. Been here waiting for my man for so many days. And now he's coming home and my heart is filled with joy inside. Cause a girl like me who's free is getting heat from all these other guys. I'm just a girl from around the way. And I'm fine and I speak my mind each and every day. I'm just a girl from around the way. Just girl, just girl.
So there's one part that I would like to go back to, because I love the rhythmic syncopation that you're doing in that middle section, and it's just a nice shift from where we start. But I want to make sure you have enough breath for it. So I think if we punch in at, I know I'm fine and I speak my mind each and every day, I think you'll be able to really feel that out just coming straight in on it, and you have all the breath you need.
Okay.
So can we do punch in there?
Let me find it.
Now I'm fine.
Okay. So I'm gonna play a little before that, and then just hit record when you get to that part. So you can sing along just to get your thing together.
Other guys, I'm just a girl from around the way. I know I'm fine and I speak my mind each and every day. I'm just a girl from around the way. Just a girl, just a girl.
Sound good? All right, give it up for Elle. Elle, do you have any questions for Winston before we leave the room? But Winston, are you sharing something with Malachi that might be helpful?
No. Maybe, I don't know.
I'll unmute myself per the Zoom request.
Elle, do you have any questions for our engineer?
I think I have any questions. Something might pop up later, but right now I don't have any pressing questions.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, thank you again for joining us. What camera am I at? Hey, here we go. With the big bright light in the background here. Let me take it off. So, Elle, you can go on back to our waiting room area. Thanks again, snaps for Elle. And can we give a round of applause to Sir Winston Phillip for his contribution to our session today. Really, really, really fantastic. Here we go. Are there any other questions in the chat before we transition to voiceover recording? I know that we've got a lot of information. I'm curious if anybody else has a question or two before we make our transition.
Not at this time, but if you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat right now.
All right. Well, thank you, Winston Phillip. I'm going to try to get myself in a little bit of a better light here. Here we go. Thank you, Winston. And next up, Lauren, if you wouldn't mind reading or doing a little intro of our next.
Wait. He hails from New York City. He is the baddest dude behind the microphone. He has got George Lucas on speed dial. You ain't never heard
I wish.
coming out of Hollywood without Marc Thompson on the microphone. There he is, Marc Kung Fu Thompson. Sorry, go ahead, Lauren. I'm sorry.
I don't think Lauren can top that. I think that was the intro.
You don't know what I gotta do.
I literally have nothing
So
else.
we are so excited to have Marc here. Marc is a dear friend for literally 25 some odd years. When we lived in New York, an incredible actor, an incredible professional voiceover artist, and we are super excited to have Marc here and share some insights because everybody's like, oh, you got a good voice. You should do voiceovers. But from that compliment to actually doing voiceovers is miles and miles. And so, Lauren, if you do want to read a little bit about Marc, and then we'll jump right into our session with Marc.
Sorry. We can actually jump right in, I think.
Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lauren.
Okay, I got flustered.
No, I like that. I want to record that intro and carry it with me.
So, Marc, feel free to tell us a little bit about yourself. And I know that one of our actors, Hannah, does have some questions for you as well. So why don't we start there?
Sure.
Yes.
Well, yeah, like Winston and CJ said, I'm a voice actor. And basically what voice acting is anytime you hear a voice but don't necessarily see the person on camera, that's voice acting. So that could be cartoons, that could be commercials, that could be audiobooks, that could be video games, that could be podcasts. There's like all kinds of ways that voiceover can come into play. So I work in all those areas. I have a little demo video of some of my animation stuff if you want me to show you that now, just to kind of show you some of the things I've done. Is that a good idea, or should we save that? Or
Yeah, that sounds great.
okay, let me just share this for you guys.
What's the matter, Yugi? You've never heard of the monster cannon? That's too bad, because if you had, you'd know that monster cannon is a weapon that fires a monster at the enemy instead of a cannonball.
It already has worked. And now, if you'll excuse me, I have another appointment.
Let's play a bit of catch.
The Dreadnoks are gonna have a lot of fun knocking that smirk off your face. Now drop your weapons.
Snivy is no longer able to continue. Pignite, the fire pig Pokemon. Pignite moves faster when its internal flame becomes more intense. This also occurs when it gets angry. Pignite!
Bodacious idea, Fergie! Being a rock star would be tubular. Driving limousines into swimming pools.
This can't be the band. I want rock and roll, man. Good thing I brought my own drumsticks. Now, who wants to beat a drum? Goongala! Goongala!
What, babe? I got one. All right, field trip.
Where are we going, man? The field.
Your sarcasm amuses me, Daria. I hope it provides you comfort when you're cowering in a foxhole.
I know, but there are so many cooler things I could be doing. Climbing Mount Everest, starting an app company. Wombat? Wombat? Stop fooling around.
I don't like it. They shut this thing down years ago for a reason.
Maybe you've forgotten what's at stake, Masterson.
You know I haven't. Whoever controls the Wayne controls the world.
time to sing for my supper. With my rice, I like to have some cow, cow, cow. It tastes so very good, I don't know how. It's my favorite form of chow, chow, chow. Wow. Eat now.
And there you have it. Let's see. So yeah, I've done a lot of different character voices. Then I also have done a bunch of the Star Wars audiobooks, which is a big treat for me and a huge blessing because I grew up a huge Star Wars fan. So, and I've done commercials and other things like that. So, but yeah, mostly what I get hired to do is character voices. That's something I've always really enjoyed. And so kind of like weird out there character-y things is where I find myself getting hired a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Do we have Hannah here to ask a few questions of Marc as well?
Yes, I'm here. Unfortunately, I am, ironically enough, having tech trouble today with my mic. So hopefully there's not too much feedback going on.
No, we can hear you fine. I can.
Okay. So I think it was already stated, but where are you originally from?
So I was born in Webster, New York, which is a suburb of Rochester, New York. So it's upstate of where I am now. And it was a pretty small town, kind of one traffic light kind of place. Had a huge farmer that lived behind me, and it was kind of out in the middle of nowhere. So I couldn't wait to come to the big city. And I kind of fell in love with acting at an early age. My mom got me into like improv classes and singing and stuff like that. And then I wasn't very athletic, still not really. And then was kind of an average student. And, but the one thing I found in school was like, I really loved being in the school plays, and like I was being chorus and show choir and jazz choir. And I got into speech and debate teams. So anything to do with performing, I really started gravitating towards, and really just loved it and fell in love with it, and kind of found my, my niche, my thing that I really love doing.
That's awesome. I also obviously love performing and everything. And I liked watching that video a lot, by the way, because I'm very like into the cartoons and stuff. And
oh, cool.
I've actually thought about it myself, but not sure.
No, you should go for it.
And when you were around my age, so I'm 17, when you were around between 14 to 21, what were you doing at the time, and like what were you primarily interested in or having as a goal? Yeah.
I was watching a lot of TV. I was a big couch potato. But in retrospect, it's kind of where I learned to do a lot of character voices, because I would watch things and then kind of under my breath, I would try to imitate them, or like, hi ho, I'm Kermit the Frog, and I would like imitate, like, oh, what's that? And I'd kind of, grab things from different shows or programs. I was and am really into like science fiction and Star Wars and Star Trek. So there were all kinds of different creatures and things like that going on that were things I could draw from. And then, like I said, like I got into high school, my Mr. Putnam made me audition for the school play, and I was a little on the edge of it, but it was The Wolf Boy, the Ghost, and the Light of the Moon. And I played a werewolf teenager in high school. And that kind of started everything, because then my Mrs. Hofstetter and Miss Ham, got me to join all these things. And I really took to it. Like I would go to speech and debate tournaments on the weekend and perform around town in the show choir and all the musicals. There was always like a rehearsal going on, or a play or a show that I was involved with. And that's where most of my time was spent.
So you've always been very involved in this. Like this is very natural for you.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So along with that, when and how would you say like your official career in this field began?
My first like actual paid gig, I really liked what Winston said about like kind of like you put a lot of effort at the beginning of just kind of trying to be the best you can be and learning a lot of skills. So like I consider like all my high school stuff and everything I did kind of prepared me for this moment. But my first like paid gig is I got into NYU and I was studying acting at NYU. And there was, I'm also old, so it was before internet stuff. And there was a cork board and it was like, back in my day, they had like a cork board and they put a phone number, like an audition posting on this cork board. And it said, you know, do you want to be in a cartoon? You know, call this number. And it was MTV. And they were producing some cartoon about vampires. And literally what the audition was they said, just leave a voicemail on our answering machine and we'll get back to you. So like I was trying to, you know, think vampire show, what should I do? So I left a message that was something like, hello, I'd like to be in your cartoon. And I was trying to be like Igor or something. And, but that was enough to get me in the door. So like they called me in and said they wanted me to audition for that. And that show did not go into production, but they had another show that was going into production. They said, why don't we call them in for that? And that was Daria, which was, I don't know, you guys might not know that show. It's an older show, but it was a spinoff of a show called Beavis and Butthead. And I ended up playing a bunch of characters on that show. And that was like my first job was Daria. and it was a really big deal. Like it was on MTV and I was super excited about it. And then kind of one thing just led to another. And it starts snowballing. Because again, what Winston said is so true. Like I'd say about 80% of the jobs I get are recommendations from previous jobs I've had. Like, yeah, obviously at some point you got to start somewhere. So it's just, at some point it's a cold call audition and you're just trying your first time. But most of the work I get from that point on is someone saying, oh, you should work with this guy. I just worked with him on such and such, you know?
I also want to ask, is there any insight or advice that you could give people who are interested in the same career field?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you guys are doing is what you should continue to do. Like this, I'm so blown away by the program that you guys are involved in, and everything CJ and Winston just did for you is solid gold. Like, you know, just getting practice, improving your instruments, meaning your voice and your, you know, your singing, your acting. Like the more skills you have, the better prepared you'll be for those opportunities, you know, because like when an opportunity does come along, if you have a bunch of experience under your belt, you're going to be much more confident than if it's, you know, the first time you've ever done anything. So every play that you could get involved in, every skit, any YouTube video, any bunch of friends want to make a film together, like do all that stuff, because the more, that's all experience, even if you're not getting paid for it, like that's all stuff that's going to prepare you for the audition that will pay you and for the first step in your career path. So, you know, this, all the stuff you guys are doing right now is so valuable. And I would take as many classes as you can. I would join as many after school programs as you can, just like practice, you know, just do anything and everything that has to do with creativity and expression, and learning these skills. And they all help each other. Like movement and dance can help your voice classes, and, you know, like singing classes help me with my acting classes help me with my singing. They're all interconnected. So anything even remotely related to performing, just be involved in it, and it'll help you get ready for that.
Thank you. And one final question. I'm just curious, what is your like favorite character that you have voiced, if you have one?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. And I'll go with Yoda, just because I grew up a huge Star Wars fan. So I've gotten to do a bunch of the Star Wars audiobooks, and just anytime I get to go, do or do not, there is no try, I'm like, oh, you know, like, thank you, God. So it's really fun. And just, you know, any of those, I've been really fortunate because I've gotten to do that. I've gotten to do stuff on Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and G.I. Joe. And those were all shows I grew up watching. So the fact that I got to be a part of like kind of reboot versions of them has really meant a lot to me. So.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Hannah. What a great job.
Yeah. Thanks, Hannah.
Yeah. So I'm gonna turn my volume down a little bit over here.
Marc, I would love for you to do a little more of your Star Wars voices, just so we can hear how you contrast from one character to the next. And then I would love for you to jump right in and give us some techniques and tools and things we can do with you to get our own sort of voiceover stuff happening in our bodies and in our minds for today.
Sure. I'll give you a couple samples. So first we have, oh dear, I am C-3PO, human cyborg relations. R2, what are you doing? We're doomed!
Quiet down, fuzzball. What do you want? Chewie, punch it!
This is so scared to be on the Millennium Falcon. We should go and last speed right now. Oh, no!
Itu wapa chitupa, misa jaba the heart.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing! Oh, the chat is blowing up. Amazing! All right, so Marc, teach us some stuff. What do we do?
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna share my screen here. So just tell me when you can see this. You guys can see this?
Yes.
Okay. So we already did that. All right. So I guess first thing, if you want to start messing around, you guys might be familiar with this, but you want to get yourself some good recording programs. And there's lots of great options out there. I'm sure Winston could probably testify to this better than I could. But there's GarageBand if you're a Mac person, which honestly I used most of the time because it came with the computer. And for voice recording, that's all you really need. Pro Tools is the industry standard. That's what most voiceover studios are going to use. So it might be good to get Pro Tools if you want to familiarize yourself with how to use that. Audacity is a great program that's free. And then there's also Ardour. I haven't used that one too much, but there's tons of them. There's Logic. There's like lots and lots of programs. So whatever you feel comfortable with, but you want to get yourself a good program that you can start practicing on. And then the next thing, is you want to learn how to record your voice at a good level. So basically, like usually on any audio recording software, there's going to be a meter. Like if you see over here on the left side of the screen, there's a meter. And generally speaking, like if you're green, you're good. So you want to kind of be, on the high level of green. If you're in yellow, you might want a mellow fellow. You might want to like kind of turn the gain down or, not be quite as loud. And if you're red, you're dead. You want to be recording red, because when you record in the red, the waveform, which is, if you look on the recording program, it's the little peaks and valleys. It'll start to distort when it's in the red. So you want to kind of be in the green to yellow area. And when you're recording, I don't know can you still see my screen when I'm sharing the screen?
Yes.
Okay.
We can see you and we can see the screen beside you.
Okay, great. So this is a condenser microphone, and condenser microphones are really great for recording vocals because they can pick up a lot of the subtleties, and they're very, very sensitive. So they can pick up a lot of different things in your voice. So you want to have a good condenser mic if you want to start investing in that. There's some kits that I can recommend after the class if you want on Amazon that are great starter kits that aren't too expensive that you could do. And then, does anyone know what this is? If you want to put it in the chat, or CJ shout it out. Anybody know? I can't see the chat. I'm sorry, but
I'll take a look. And Perry and Lauren, feel free to jump in and help out with that too. Let's see.
No guesses so far.
Okay, this is called a pop filter.
Yeah.
Okay, and basically what this is this blocks air from getting to the mic. Because if you do this, if you put your finger in front of your mouth and go, pretty, pretty party, pretty, pretty party. Do you feel
pretty party?
Yeah. Do you feel the air hitting your finger? Pa, 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 pa. When you do that, if that air were to hit the microphone directly, there's like a sharp bump in the waveform, or there's a sharp, sound in what you're recording that's not going to be good. It's going to interfere with what you're doing. And those are called plosives. So when you say like P words and B words, pa, ba, 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 pa, 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 or even ka, 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 like anything that has that sharp kind of exhale of air, those are called plosives. So the pop filter blocks the plosives. So you might see, like, I know when you guys were recording today on one of the videos, there was that giant like foam ball around the microphone that was also protecting from too much wind getting on the mic, or the pop filter will do that. So sometimes the engineer might say, can you just adjust the pop filter? And that's what this is. And, you know, and sometimes they might say, watch your P's. And the first time someone said that to me, I was like, did I pee my pants? Like, what's he talking about? Like, he was saying like, watch your plosives, like watch your pee, you know? So like, that's just something to be aware of. So that's, you know, so basically that's that. And then I feel a little weird trying to say this in front of Winston, because he might know better than I do, but
he actually stepped out, so feel free.
Okay. All right. So I'm the expert here. You don't need to, but what I was told is that for voiceover, you want your eye to kind of be, you know, perpendicular to the microphone, or kind of like right on the level of the microphone. So your mouth is just ever so slightly below it. Because again, that avoids from the pops and the things getting too close. And I also heard that if you do like 3 fingers and just put it between here and the mic, that's generally a good distance to be away from the microphone when you're recording. Now that might change. Like if I'm doing a battle scene, or if I'm screaming at the top of my lungs, I might need to do 4 or even 5 fingers, because if I'm too close to the microphone, again, we're going to be in the red and we're going to be dead, and the sound's going to start to distort and sound crunchy in the speakers. So if I'm getting really loud, I might back up a little. But if I know I'm doing like an inner monologue, I might get really close to the microphone, and I might, you know, just because I want to really pick up the richness of the sound. So, but generally speaking, 3 fingers is a good distance to be.
And Mark, that aligns with what he was saying earlier, is that the sound's going to go up. So the placement that you just said is exactly where the sound would go up into the mic.
Okay,
so,
good.
Ding, ding, ding.
All right. Yeah. And then, you know, there's different placements that the engineer might put you if you're singing or if you're narrating, or, you know, and what you really want to be careful of, and this is a problem I have in the booth, is you want to make sure that you're not bumping into things or touching the microphone, or like sometimes if I'm gesturing, I might hit the mic stand or hit a cord, and all that stuff will pick up on the mic. So you want to make sure that you have, if, you know, I like to gesture a lot when I'm recording because it helps influence the emotion of what I'm saying or what I'm saying. So just make sure you have plenty of room and you're not bumping into things or bumping the cord. Or sometimes when I'm doing audiobooks, the headphone cord will rub up, like if I'm moving my head a lot, it'll rub up against the table. So sometimes I have to find a skillful way to like put the headphone cord somewhere where it's not going to jingle and jangle, because the mic is very sensitive and will pick up all that stuff. So
that's great information. Awesome.
Thank you. Okay, so CJ touched on this, but another thing that is really important is your breath. Your breath is like the gas in your car. The more gas you have, the farther you can go in your vehicle. So the more breath you have, the more you can do with your voice. If you don't have enough breath, you're going to severely limit what you can do with your voice. So I had one voice teacher that described it to me as, imagine your belly and your diaphragm is like a giant balloon. And when you inhale, you want to kind of picture the balloon filling up, you know, like kind of from the bottom here. And then you want it like you want to control how you're using your air and how you're exhaling your air. So for fun, if you want to do this at home, is we're all going to take a deep breath together. We're going to fill up that balloon, and then we're going to exhale, and we're going to like do a lip trill like this. And we're going to see how slowly and controlled we can release the air. So we want to take as big a breath as we can and then see how long we can go. Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Anybody go longer? That's good. Yeah. So, but like the more you can control how long you can have the breath going, the more power the voice will have, the longer you can speak, you know. And like if you really have a lot of air, you can really project. You can go, ha ha. You can really get the voice to go far. So it's good to any and all breathing exercises you can do and practice taking in a lot of air and controlling how you use the air is a really powerful tool to help you go far using your voice. So I won't show you this video for the sake of time right now, but I've done a bunch of commercial stuff, and I'll show you that later. Okay, so when we're auditioning, I guess first of all, is there any questions so far, or am I just good to keep going?
You're good.
Okay. So when you're auditioning, it can be a little nerve-wracking. I feel anxious sometimes when I go in the booth to record with someone, because you want the job and you desperately want to work in this field. But I got some great advice one time, and this casting director friend of mine said, you want to think of auditioning as like going on a first date. And he said, you want to be charming and you want to be interesting, but you don't want to come across desperate or needy, So it's like you want to go in like, and kind of smile and interested, and you might make a little small talk with the engineer or the casting director, but you don't want to come in like, hi, oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait to work with you. I hope we can work together. I'm working on this audition all night, and here's my card, and I can call you if you want just to see if there's anything, I could do it again. Or, like if you come across too needy or desperate like that, it might make the person be like, whoa, I'm not sure if I can handle all that, and by comparison, if you come in too meek and too quiet, you want to find the balance between being confident but being humble, because if you come in too meek and it's like, I'm sorry, I'm so nervous, it can make the kind of Winston said, like, some of them are not there to coach. They have to see like 60 people today. They've got a job to do, and they might not be in a position where they're there to talk you through your nerves, so you might need to talk through your nerves with a friend or someone else, but like kind of you want to go in confident but humble. Like you don't want to come in arrogant, like, all right, you found your voice, hit record, make sure you're ready because you're about to be blown away. Like no one's going to want to work with that person either, So it's that delicate balance of you want to be confident, interesting, charming, but humble, open to direction. They may give you some suggestions about ways to do it differently. And you want to show them that you can take direction. You want to show them that you can take their suggestion and apply it. So generally speaking, when you first walk in, they're going to give you the copy, and copy is what they call the script. I don't know why, it's just that's what they call it. So that so like here's the copy, or they might say here are the sides. Sides is another word you might hear. It's just describing the script. And usually on the sides or on the copy, you'll see the specs. And specs means speculation about what the character might be like. But they just abbreviate it and call it the specs. And the specs might be something like, teenage voice, very shy, anxious. Perhaps they sound a bit like Michael Cera, or perhaps they sound a bit like Steve Urkel, so that they might use like different celebrities or different characters from other shows to give you an idea of what they're looking for. Okay. Or it might say, male, 20s, arrogant, very sure of himself, very, very smooth, and, like a sexy voice, like we want like a Michael B. Jordan, or like they might have different, and these are all in the specs. These are all descriptors of what it is they hope to find, what they're looking for to cast. And then they'll have the actual script below. So what you want to do is you want to look at the specs and try to figure out, what can I latch onto? Like, what does arrogant sound like when someone's speaking? What does humble or timid sound like when someone's speaking? What is, what, like if it's Michael Cera, like what qualities of Michael Cera's voice, or Michael B. Jordan, or whatever celebrity they might use? Like what are the qualities that I hear when I think of that person? And you want to figure out how to apply that to the script. And then generally, sometimes they will, sometimes they won't, but sometimes the engineer will say, okay, slate your name and give me 3 in a row. And what that means when they say slate your name, it just means say your name. And sometimes they might say, say your name and what agency you're with, or sometimes it might be say your name and how old you are. And some don't want that, because some they don't want to go in judging you ahead of time based on whether they've seen you or not, or if they know you or not. They just some say don't slate, So, but if they do say slate, that's what they're asking for, is just slate your name. Now, this is an opinion, but it's one that I found has worked for me, is that if there are things in the specs that make the voice a character different than what my natural personality is, I will generally slate in character. So like if they're asking for a really timid, shy voice, then I might go, "Hi, this is Marc Thompson, Innovative Artists," and I'll do it kind of in character, because for voiceover, they're judging you as soon as they hear you. Like they're judged, like whoever the casting director is that's ultimately going to get this audition emailed to them, they're starting to assess you right away, right from the slate. So that's just something I like to do. Some people think that's corny or gimmicky, and they're not comfortable doing that. So if you're not comfortable doing that, then don't do it. You could just show your personality, but I find it helps them to buy the voice that I'm auditioning with if that's all they hear. Because if they hear my regular voice and then I break into something drastically different, to me, it's too jarring for them. So anyway, that's just an opinion. But so I generally slate in character. And then if they do 3 in a row, you'll just kind of read through the scripts 3 times, or sometimes they'll say, show me what you're thinking. And they kind of read it once. And then after the first time you read it, they might give you some notes. And they might say, okay, this time let's do it a little quicker. Or this time, turn up your gain. Like they might say, turn up your gain, which generally if you're in a studio, they'll do that. If you're at home, the gain is, there's an interface. I'm nervous to pick it up because it might cause me to disconnect. But there's a interface on here, and there's a little dial that you can turn up or down, which will determine the amount of gain that the microphone is picking up. So it makes the microphone pick up more sound or less sound. So anyway, but a lot of times they'll give you notes. They'll say that they might give you an attitude adjustment, like a little less shy, or a little more shy, or a little more bold, or let's do this as if you're embarrassed, or let's do this. Now let's go a totally different direction. And let's do this like kind of more like proud of yourself, or like you're bragging. Or they might give you a direction like less presentational. Let's do it more like you're just telling it to a friend. And this is just very casual, So you might get all kinds of notes. I find, generally speaking, when like if you listen to like commercials from the 1950s or the 60s, voiceover was all about, "Hello, I'm putting on a very formal voice to tell you about waxing your car and the turtle wax that I'm selling you right now." And every once in a while they might do like a retro commercial where they're looking for that. But nowadays, the name of the game is natural. Like everybody wants to hear just it to be as natural as possible and casual as possible. And like, it's like, if you want to buy this product, buy it. If you don't, who cares? I'm just your friend. I'm not trying to sell you anything. I'm just super cash, and it's like very like almost like thrown away. So you want to figure out what it's going for. But what's useful for that in terms of all of you is that all of you have a unique voice. And all of you are completely different. You're from completely different backgrounds. You're from completely different areas. And you don't have to try to sound like what you think a commercial should sound like. Like you can sound what you sound like and bring your personality to it. And that's going to be so unique that no one else will have what you have. So don't be like, sometimes they're looking for something really specific, but sometimes they want to hear what you sound like, and they want to, and a lot of times that's something you really should at least give them one take where you're showing them something really unique to you, because nobody else can be you, and you have a unique voice, and don't be afraid. Don't feel like you have to sound like what everybody else sounds like, because, that gets boring after a while. So people want to see what you have to offer. And when you're giving them takes, like try to give them a lot of variety in the takes you're giving them. Try make when Winston talked about, if you have a plan, I know how to get it on the speakers. So when you're doing an audition, like try to have a plan, like try to think through, the first take, I'm going to really play with this idea of the attitude of boldness. On the second take, I'm going to really lean into, the celebrity reference they gave me. I'm going to really try to sound like Michael B. Jordan. On the third take, I'm going to give them something they didn't even ask for in the specs. I'm going to give what I think that I would do if I were the one directing this commercial, and try to really give them a lot of variety in the takes and show them the range of what you can do. So, okay. One thing that comes up a lot, especially when we're dealing with commercials, and even though it's not the line of work most people dream about doing, like most people dream about doing a cartoon or being on a TV show, but commercials is the line of work that pays the best. So if you can get a commercial, it can support more of the creative stuff you want to do with your time. But like commercials really pay well. So if you can break into the commercial industry, it's a really good thing to do because those really pay well. But one skill that's really useful to have is commercials have to fit into 30-second or 15-second chunks because, you know, they have to get a lot of information in about 15 seconds. So actually, I could exit out of my screen share, or if one of you could put in the sample scripts I sent in the PDF on the Google Doc in the chat, maybe.
Yes, we have it ready for you now.
Okay, great.
Which one would you like?
Why don't we do the 7-Eleven one first?
Great. Would you like it in, Lauren, can you put that on either a slide deck and also maybe in the chat as well?
It's already in the chat. I can pull up a slide real fast.
And Perry, if you wouldn't mind asking the question that someone had for Marc while Lauren is pulling that up.
Sure. So we had a question wondering if you have any advice or techniques for someone who is interested in voiceover work but has a lisp.
Oh, that's an interesting question. Yeah. I think a good thing, I mean, so I'll answer it two ways. I think one way is that you could, there are kind of voice classes that you can take that really help people with diction and learning how to compensate for things like that, or learning different vocal exercises and kind of the, you know, when I went to NYU, we had like an entire class that was just dedicated to like diction and voice and breath and different areas of the voice and things like that, which I think I'll talk about in a second here. But so that there are classes, there are books, there are YouTube videos that will go into great detail about different vocal exercises and diction exercises you can use to try to help compensate for something like that. But on the other hand, there may be certain characters, there may be certain spots in commercials where that natural sounding lisp is going to be really useful. You know, there are certain actors that have certain vocal affectations that make them who they are, that make them unique. And, you know, and so that might be something that could actually, you know, be useful in certain spots. It will definitely be limiting because it will narrow the scope of, you know, because there'll be a lot of other jobs where that won't be appropriate. But there may be some jobs where that will be perfect, and that sound will be so unique that's like, that's who I want for that character, or that's who I want for that, you know, for this particular pitch, you know. But I think it's a good skill to know how to try to compensate for it when you need it. So, okay, and then I see the script up here. Do I still have the slide showing when this is up on the?
I am muted.
Oh, no problem. I think I hear you now.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. Yes, your slideshow has gone away and this one has replaced it.
Oh,
and so
okay,
when
I'm
we're
sorry.
all done, we'll.
Okay.
Do you need me to go back to your other one?
Yeah, but how about this? If it's easier for people to read it in the chat, you can read it in the chat. Or if you just take a photo of this before she makes it go away, you can read it off your phone if you just take a photo of it. But I was going to ask for a volunteer who wanted to see if they could try to read this in 15 seconds. And on the slide, I have a fuse on a bomb. And if you can get it in before 15 seconds, you win. And if you don't, the bomb goes off and you lose. So
Definitely bring up that slide.
Okay.
Okay. You can
okay.
share now, Marc.
Okay, got it. Where's my thing? Sorry. Keynotes. There we go. All right, are you seeing it now?
Yes.
Okay. Are there any volunteers that would like to give this a try? Anybody?
Looks like Elle might be raising her hand.
Oh, great. Okay. Hey, Elle.
Hi.
Hey. All right. So just do the best you can. Don't freak out. But when I say go, I want you to try to see. You want to still read it with personality and clarity, but see if you can get it in before the bomb goes off. Okay.
Okay.
All right. On your marks, get set, go.
It's 2 a.m. You're starving. Nothing in the fridge. You don't even have a dog biscuit lying around. You think about cooking, but then you remember the fire you started last time. Well, check out 7-Eleven. They've got you covered. They have everything from Twizzlers to tacos to toothpaste. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Ah, so close, so close, so close. All right. So close, so close. You almost had it. You almost had it. Do you want to try again?
Sure.
Okay, let's try it again. Ready? Just a little, like maybe just a little more energy. Like maybe if you think of the idea of like urgent, like you're trying to get all this stuff done, but you know, am I going to make it 7-Eleven on time? You know, so let's try.
And Elle, feel free since you're in the room alone with your mom to take off your mask if that helps.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, ready?
Mm-hmm.
On your marks, get set, go.
It's 2 a.m. You're starving. Nothing in the fridge. You don't even have a dog biscuit lying around. You think about cooking, but then you remember the fire you started last time. Well, check out 7-Eleven. They've got you covered. They have everything from Twizzlers to tacos to toothpaste. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 7-Eleven. Think of it as your own personal.
So close, so close, so close. Oh. All right, that was good though. That was good. You almost had it. Anybody else want to give it a go?
I'll try.
All right, yeah. What's your name?
Willie.
Hey, Willie. All right.
Hi.
Do you got the script in front of you?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, ready? On your marks, get set, go.
It's 2 a.m. You're starving. Nothing in the fridge. You don't even have a dog biscuit lying around. You think about cooking, but then you remember the fire you started last time. Well, check out 7-Eleven. They got you covered. They have everything from Twizzlers to tacos to toothpaste. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 7-Eleven. Think of it as your own personal kitchen. Hey.
Oh, so close, so close.
Ah.
Just a hair faster, hair faster. Let's try it again, okay?
All right, okay.
All right, on your marks, get set, go.
It's 2 a.m. You're starving. Nothing in the fridge. You don't even have a dog biscuit lying around. You think about cooking, but then you remember the fire you started last time. Well, check out 7-Eleven. They got you covered. They have everything from Twizzlers to tacos to toothpaste. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. 7-Eleven. Think of it as your own personal walk in the kitchen. Hey.
Yeah! Come on, Big Willie. That was great. That was awesome. Good job. So yeah, it's a little bit of a tricky skill, but if you know, you could just pull out a stopwatch on your phone or something like that, and that might be a good skill to try to practice. Is just see if you can read a script within 15 seconds or within 30 seconds. You know, and sometimes honestly, it's impossible. Like sometimes the copywriter has all these jokes they're trying to fit in, and there's all this information they're trying to fit in, and no matter how fast you read it, there's just no way to get it in the amount of time. And at that point, the writer of the script will have to start cutting things. But if you can get the information out clearly with personality and quickly, that will make you very hireable, because that's something that that's a very useful skill, especially when it comes to commercials. So, are we still doing okay?
Yeah, we're doing good. I'd
Okay.
say take another 6 or 7 minutes.
Sure. Okay. Another thing that can help when you're trying to come up with character voices or just learning how to kind of use your instrument is thinking about the area of your voice, affectation, and attitude. And these are things that might be helpful when it comes to interpreting the specs on a script. So first of all, like area of your voice. Your voice, your body has different resonators. There's your head, which is kind of like if you put like anywhere on this diagram where you put your hand, when you're speaking, you should feel vibrations. Like if you put your hand right here on your nose or kind of your sinuses, when you're speaking, you'll feel kind of vibrations there. And if you place the sound there,
it changes the quality of the sound. So this is my nasal resonator. I'm kind of speaking through my nose. And as you'll notice, it's a little high pitched. It's a little annoying. But that's your nasal resonator. And then your throat or your adenoidal, if you put it down here, it's a little lower. It's scratchier. You might have some texture in here. This is your throat resonator. You want to be careful when you're talking in your throat because this can actually do damage. Singers should never put the sound here. But for voiceover, you can get a lot of interesting character things here for short periods of time if you put it here. Your chest. If you put your hands on your chest, this is like a very resonant resonator. And you can get a lot of low, ha, ha, ha. Like you can get a lot of really deep resonant sound there. And then your head is like literally the top of your skull. So like, hey, ah, ooh, ah, ah, ah. It's like kind of your falsetto or your head voice. So that if you play around with those different resonators, you can get different character voices or different sounds. And it's like playing different notes on an instrument. So it's like, if you go from your chest to your throat, your nasal, your head, it would sound like, ha. Let's try that. Ready? Yeah. Very good. That sounds nice. So, but that you can play around with those different things to try to get different qualities and play around with different things you can do with your voice. Another thing is like affectations, and this could be like accents. This could be different things you do with your mouth, and, you know, or different parts of your mouth. You know, like Obi-Wan Kenobi. Hello there, I'm Obi-Wan Kenobi. May the force be with you. It's like it has that kind of a British accent, or you could do like a New York accent, or you could do down south. We do lots of things. We get our things in our chicken wings. You know, you do like you play around with different affectations like that. When I do Admiral Akbar in a Star Wars audiobook, one of the things that I found is if I picture myself as if my face were the actual mask that character wore, it affects the voice. So if I picture like, my mouth can only move this far because it's made of rubber and silicone. And I can only breathe through my mouth because my nose is covered by this mask. It's a trap. And it'll affect it. Or if you think of like Bosk, like this guy's a reptile, right? So like in my mind, like reptiles got a hiss when he speaks. And there might be in my throat resonator. And I'm affecting my voice based on Bosk. And that would be like a cool way to come up with a character voice. Attitude, again, you could come up with different attitudes that will affect how you read a script. So if you think about my attitude is to seek vengeance, or my attitude is to be so bored. I'm selling you Lexus. You've got more money than you know what to do with, so buy it. I don't care. You're bored. You know, or like, you know, to be in awe, like, whoa, Six Flags is open this summer for a limited time. You can get in with just a Coke can. No way. You know, like you can like be really in awe of things like that. Or to be at peace. Buy a Vino moisturizer. It will help your skin look like Jennifer Aniston. You know, like it was like different attitudes can affect how you read the script. And then if we have time, sometimes, especially if you're doing animation, you might get to see a picture of the character that you're going to do. And sometimes that can help you find a voice. Like oftentimes, I won't even read the specs. I'll just look at the photo or the drawing and I'll get inspired by what I see. So again, if I can have a volunteer, if someone could volunteer to read the sentence at the top of the screen that says, hey, good morning, who would like some tuna fish and raisins? It's delicious. But I want you to pick a number, or actually, pick a number and pick which character inspires you. And I want you to read that sentence as if you're the character of that number, if that makes sense. Okay. So any volunteers out there want to give it a shot?
Anyone?
Don't be shy. Don't be shy.
Don't be shy.
Yeah, this
Fun.
is a great opportunity to test something out and get some feedback from a pro. Jump in there.
Elle?
Yeah.
Oh,
All
April.
right.
Let's go, April.
Okay. All right, April, what number do you want to give a shot with?
Oh, it just went away. How do I go back to the picture? Oh, here we go. I actually unmuted just because, but
Yeah.
let's see. I was trying to figure that out. let's do the cloud because I have no idea what clouds sound like.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Let's try number 3.
So if I take your advice, what does a cloud make me feel? Okay. Hi, good morning. Who would like some tuna fish and raisins? It's delicious.
That was awesome. I love that. That was really great. So I really felt the airiness and, you know, which was awesome to pick up on the cloud. And it really had a very unique quality. So I love that. Let's do it again. And this time, I don't know about you, but when I see the cloud, this particular cloud, he's got these really thick glasses on and he's got buck teeth. And what does that say to you? Or how would that affect how you might read the voice if you're focused on that aspect of it?
Okay. Hey, good morning. Who would like some tuna fish and raisins? It's delicious.
I like it. Yeah, I was starting to hear the teeth. That was good. Let's try one more time. And this time, play around with placing it in your nasal resonator. Let's hear what it sounds like in your nasal resonator.
Hey, good morning. Who would like some tuna fish and raisins? It's delicious.
Yeah, I really like that. Yeah, that's great. So yeah, you could, as you can see, you can play around with a bunch of different things to try to find it. So CJ, it's up to you guys. We could do one more volunteer, or we could do Q&A, whatever is the best use of time.
I'd love to get one more volunteer from our Voices of Carmen cast or crew.
We have Ella. I think we have Ella.
Great.
Okay. Do you want me to do the same one or a different one?
No, why don't you pick a different one?
Gotcha. I'll do 9.
Number 9. Okay, cool.
Okay. Let me try and get the voice because I know I'll lose it if I don't have a moment.
Yeah.
Hey, good morning. I would like some tuna fish and raisins. It's delicious.
I really like it. That was great. That was really good. Let's try. Actually, I really liked what you did for that one, so I'm going to give you a different character. Let's. How would it sound if you did number 4?
Okay. How did you say you did a deeper voice again?
You could use your throat resonator or your chest resonator.
Hey, good morning. I would like some tuna fish and raisins. It's delicious.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Come on, Ella.
I heard that grit in there. That was really good. Yeah. Can you do it one more time? And let's same resonator, but really even turn up the dial on the attitude. Like, attitude. Yeah, like even be more like what would it sound like if it was more like almost like a Jack Black energy? Like if you can think about how he acts in his movies.
Okay, I'll channel Jack Black.
Yeah.
Hey, good morning. Who would like some tuna fish and raisins? It's so delicious.
Yeah, that was great. That was awesome. Good job. And you did a great thing, which I should have pointed out earlier, is even just the addition of the word "so" actually added to the flavor of that character. It's so delicious. It kind of had that wacky thing. And you can, on one of the takes in your auditions, it's fun to add some stuff. If there's a way you would say it that's slightly different than how what's on the script, go ahead and give them at least one take with that. Because it might add something really special and unique to it. So really great job.
Nicely done. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I think we have at least one more question in the chat for both Marc and Winston. So let's get both of them up there. And Perry or Lauren, if you could ask this final question.
Perry, you can go ahead.
Sure. So Hannah had asked if you're looking to make these connections that we've learned are so important to be getting work in this area, how would you go about getting started making those sorts of connections? And if possible, if either of you could recommend any websites or other resources to browse for jobs.
Okay. Yeah, I think
I would, I was gonna say yes to everything, but that's probably not a healthy thing to say. But but like especially when you're starting off, you do want to just get a lot of experience. So I would, like I said earlier, like just even if it's just with a bunch of your friends messing around and just making a YouTube video, like just try to get a lot of experience, because you never know. Like I just did a job last week with a friend of mine from church. And I did something at church with him that was just kind of a volunteer thing. But then he remembered me from that and then hired me to do this job that he needed done, you know? So you just never know. So like I would try to get as much experience as possible. For voiceover specifically, if you felt like investing in this, that, you know, I would try to get yourself like on Amazon, you can find like it's called Focusrite. They have like a starter kit that has like a condenser mic, an interface, headphones, XLR cable. And I think it's like for around $250, maybe $300, which is a lot, but it'll get you started. And you want to get like a minute, like about a 60-second demo together of what you can do. So that could be like commercials, that could be character voices, that could you be reading a sample from a book for audiobooks, but just get a couple 60-second demos that you can just email to people or put up on a website. And that way, when you do meet someone in the industry, you could say, hey, here's my website, or here's where I have my demos, or you can email them something just so they can hear a high quality sample. And if you've got a friend that can add music production and effects behind it and EQ it so it sounds really professional, that's always helpful. So the number one way is just like that, like just get to know people in the industry and work. There are websites you can try. There's a sorry, let me just check one thing real quick so I say the website correctly.
And Marc, we will send out a follow-up email, so anything you want to share, we can add to that as well.
Okay, great. There's a website called edgestudio.com, EDGE studio.com, and they offer voiceover classes if you wanted to sign up for a voiceover class, but they also have free resources like sample scripts. Because when I was first starting out, I didn't have anything to put on a demo because I hadn't been hired to do anything. So we made a bunch of fake commercials, and I used like sample scripts to make fake commercials as if this was what this toothpaste commercial would sound like if it were my voice. And then it made a demo that way. And that's a great way to get started. But edgestudio.com has classes, sample scripts you can draw from, things like that. And then when you're ready to kind of dip your toe in to try to maybe earn some money doing this, you could try, there's websites called voices.com, voice123.com. The benefit of that is the website gives you access to a bunch of auditions, even without an agent or a manager. The downside of that is you're competing with everybody else in the world that's on that website. So if you don't answer the audition within the first hour of it being posted, you probably won't even get heard because they'll already have 100 submissions by an hour. So that's a little challenging. I've during COVID, I was desperate for work, and I went to Fiverr.com, which is another one that you could try. And what I like about Fiverr is Voices123 and Voice.com, you have to pay a fee for the honor of being on their website. Fiverr, you just pay a commission if you get hired. So if you get hired, you pay 20% commission to the website. But that would be another way to maybe just get your feet wet and just to try something and see if maybe people would be interested in hiring you for voice and stuff like that.
Awesome. Folks are really appreciating those thoughts in the chat. Thank you, Marc. What about you, Winston? Same question?
When Marc reminded me of this guy. His name is Swiss Beats. Some of y'all might know him as Alicia Keys' husband. But when I was working as an engineer in the studio, there would be this annoying, goofy dude that would like know where people were recording and kind of trick the doorman into letting them into the studio. And he had these really dusty cassette tapes. And trying to give them to a producer and be like, hey, these are some of my new beats. So before they were beat makers, it was a dude named Swiss Beats. And but his persistence was amazing. So from the time I first heard of this guy, and he showed up, and you had to deal with Swiss Beats because there he comes. and you don't want to be mean. Some people are mean, but you don't want to really be mean. To being where almost every record you heard for like the next 10 years
Wow.
featured this guy. So the story is about persistence and confidence and practicing. Like these guys would sit in front of their drum machines all day. Starving artists is a real thing. These cats would sit there and just perfect craft and also try to find something that they were doing, like Timbaland or Swiss Beats or Pharrell, that nobody else was doing. So you actually have to pay attention to the environment that you're trying to get in. Like I had a conversation with Malachi a couple of weeks ago about the song they were working on, and as soon as I heard like the first 8 bars, it's like, go listen to every Justin Bieber song. Not because you like Justin Bieber, but evidently billions of people do. And just see what's unique about that and how that framework might work with what you're doing. But the only way in is presence. You gotta be there. And you have to be persistent, but you also have to be really good. Because if Swiss Beats shows up at a Mary J. Blige session with Timbaland or Puffy, he's stepping into an arena where there are gorillas. Like, why would I pay any attention to this dude? Because you'll play the tape and you're like, yo, let me hold that for a second. Let me call you back. And boom. Then Alicia asks you to marry her. And then to the races. When I was in the studio working on a song, this other honey came in and she was like, yo, why don't you put some beats in this little track for me? And then she married me. So, that's how that works.
Wow. Not just career advice.
Yeah. Wait, and this honey was blowing up my microphone. I'm like, why are you singing so loud? This ain't Broadway. This is recording studio. Just sing it all from a diaphragm.
Okay.
Yeah, don't give me a
Let's
microphone.
wrap this up. Let's give a round of applause for our amazing guests, Marc and Winston. Bravo. My goodness. So much, right? There is so much that we learned, so much to take away from today's just a 2-hour experience. And y'all were incredibly generous with all that you shared and gave to us to be able to even just go, it's a lot. I'm going to have to marinate on this for 2 days. But we'll do that. This cast is amazing, absolutely incredible. And I'm so excited for them to sort of move to whatever the next step is based on just even what they were able to gain from the two of you today. So thank you again. And we are excited. We definitely want y'all to see what we put together. Lauren, do you have any last words or a little call to action for us? We're going to be sending out to the cast notes. We recorded this. You'll get to look at it if you weren't able to join us today. Definitely follow our journey. Voices of Carmen is on Instagram. We have a Voices of Carmen YouTube page as well as our Facebook page where we'll be sharing this information and each month having a Voices of Carmen coaching session to learn amongst ourselves and also share what we're learning in community so that others who want to learn and grow and get some mentorship and coaching can do that right alongside with us. So thank you again. Everyone who came, feel free to write a little note in the chat. We'll put on some music for this last little 5 minutes. If you want to say thank you to Marc or thank you to Winston or write in one last question, you can do that while the music plays us out. Have a good afternoon, everybody. It's been awesome.
Thanks, everybody.
So proud of our volunteers who came to sing in the studio. Hassan, thank you.
You guys sound amazing.
Thank you. Ella, all those who jumped in April, thank you. Willie and Lauren and Perry, thank you for being our stream management behind the scenes, making everything run smooth, as well as I want to give a special thanks to Brianna, who's sitting here in the studio as our production assistant and videographer. Good night.
Get too close,
Lauren, could you take a picture of us? Let me zhoosh my hair. The three of us right here. This is back in the day, yo.
Yeah, there's some other pictures like this.
All right, let's do. All right, cheese. 1, 2, 3, cheese. Awesome.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Sweet as a honeybee. Boy, what you doing to me?
Where the music at?
You a sight for sore eyes to see. It's about time. About time. Sweet as a honeybee. Girl, what you doing to me? You're a sight for sore